The beginner is afraid of getting hit. The beginner wants to hit the other guy before he gets hit. The beginner is under stress. Martial arts is all about building your confidence. It's all about learning how not to get hit. And that's when you're sparring, the other person won't stop for you. Okay, so if you're attacking or you've done a counterattack, boom, but then there's no time to reset because the other person will try to get you back. And how do you recover from that is crucial. Hi guys, welcome back to this episode. So today I'd like to talk to you about, is sparring necessary for you to improve your technique? Now, do you think sparring is necessary? Do you think you should be sparring when you're practicing Wing Chun or any martial arts for that matter? The answer is yes. In my opinion, you should spar. You should work on your sparring. Now, let me break it down. See, you could be working on your basics. Then from the basics, you move on to fighting drills. Now, with the fighting drills, usually you're working on your ABCs. You're attacking, you're defending. You're working on the right side, you're working on the left side. And then suddenly you move on to random attacks and freestyle. But then from that point to real fighting, there's a huge gap. When you close that gap by sparring, by working on freestyle action movement with one person in a controlled environment, then suddenly you close the gap between your fighting drills and real fighting. When you're sparring, your main focus should not be just working on attacking and just hitting the other person. Usually you'll find that in beginners. The beginner is afraid of getting hit. The beginner wants to hit the other guy before he gets hit. The beginner is under stress because it's human nature for you to be afraid of getting hit. When practicing martial arts is all about building your confidence. It's all about learning how not to get hit. And that's the hardest bit. If you want to hit someone, you don't need training. Anyone can hit another person. You see it all the time. If you see a street fight, people attacking each other. No training. But learning how not to get hit, that requires skill. That requires martial arts training. And that is what you want to try and test yourself. Test your skills in a controlled and friendly environment with your sparring. That's why at my school, I have my students spar on a weekly basis. We do have our sparring class once a week, and then every, say, 3 to 4 weeks, we add another sparring session throughout the week, so that way people can even get 2 sparring sessions per week. Having said that, we do fighting drills every single lesson. Okay, now, what's the main difference between fighting drills and sparring? When you spar, you are working on freestyle, random attacks and defense. When you're sparring, the other person won't stop for you. Okay, so if you're attacking or you've done a counterattack, boom, but then there's no time to reset because the other person will try to get you back. And how do you recover from that is crucial, because in a real fighting environment, let's call it street fighting, when someone attacks you, number one, there's no warning for the most part. Number two, you don't have time to get ready for the fight. You're not going to warm up, stretch, and say, okay, now I'm nice and loose, let's go. You have to go from 0 to 100 like that. And how do you do that? What happens if you're fighting against more than one opponent and you've dealt with one, but then you have to recover and see that someone from your blind side is attacking you? All these elements, you can find them in your sparring. How to recover when the person's attacking. How are you covering, counterattacking? Are you using the distance to your advantage? Or are you just following the other person's lead? Okay? Are you relying on your strength more than your speed? Or vice versa, are you relying on your speed more than your strength? Do you have explosiveness in your movements? All these elements, you can find them in sparring. That's why I believe that sparring is very important when it comes to your martial arts training, right? Now, I'll tell you a quick story. A senior student of mine years ago, he was sparring with another student. So Kung Fu Brothers sparring. And they were having fun. They were going back and forth. And then at the time, we had a boxing ring in the school. So one student is attacking and the other just bounced off the boxing ring ropes. And as he bounces forward, the other guy just got him and winded him. Okay? Now, how do you recover from a situation like that? Okay? You're winded. Lucky enough, this was all in a controlled environment, and actually we had a good laugh about it because it was quite funny how it all happened. But now let's say that in a real fighting environment. How do you recover from getting winded? How do you recover from getting tired? Everyone works on their sparring or their fighting drills when they're, feeling good. They just had a sip of water. Okay, let's go. But when you're hyperventilating, when you're stressed out, when you're not wearing the appropriate clothes, how do you defend yourself at that given point? So those elements, you can find them when you're under stress, tired, fatigued, gassed out, and then you need to learn to recover. And that usually you can find it in sparring. So guys, food for thought. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me or do you not? Write it in the comments below, and make sure if you're watching this podcast episode on YouTube, check out some of my tutorial videos and let me know what you think of those. Okay, so take it easy, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.